So here we are again, covering obviously a difficult topic, I understand, for a lot of people. I want to know if you're feeling that full panic mode when it comes to this virus these days. I've been watching a lot of the comments in, a lot of the social media circles that I have here, and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these different places that I go, listening to the comments that we're getting in our emails to Natural Health 365 as well. And we've got a whole bunch of people that obviously are talking about this whole virus being built up more than what it really is for obvious reasons. This is an election year. It's very politicized. It's being weaponized. We all get it. But the bottom line sense I'm getting from a lot of people is a lot of panic, a lot of upset, a lot of frustration. So today I thought we would focus on some really good news out of this, because where I stand on a lot of these things are, even in very difficult situations, there is always an opportunity for us to do something really good, something really important, and that's what I would like to focus on today. Hi, I'm Jonathan Landsman, your host for Natural Health 365 Live. We do this show every single day, Monday to Friday, at 12 noon Eastern Time. So I hope you'll get a chance to join us on many of the shows coming up in the future. And please do me a big favor and share this program, this message that we put out, to more of your friends and family, because we certainly need a good message out there compared to all the bad news we're hearing. This show is primarily designed in improving your immune system, which will improve your health. It'll protect your health. And that's what a lot of people are concerned about. No doubt we're going to cover that today. Hey, by the way, if you're new to this show, do me a big favor and put new in the comment section below so that we can give you a big hello. All right. So, is this virus stressing you out? It certainly is affecting a lot of people on a psychological, an emotional level, obviously on a physical level, those people who are not feeling well already, and then they get this kind of a virus, especially a new type of virus. It could be a really serious, troubling issue. No doubt about it. And a lot of times when I hear people stressed out, my initial reaction can easily be misunderstood, but I would say it to you this way. The stress, the fear, the worries, maybe we should look at these things as not all bad. Maybe depending on your individual situation, whatever you're stressed out about, fearful about the future, worried about, maybe that's just sort of a signal to you that you have to work on something in your life, right? Something that is a red alert, an alarm, like a fire alarm going off in a house. I mean, that's a good thing. It's not the most relaxing thing to hear, but it's a good thing that that alarm bell is going off so that you can get out of the house and not be caught in a fire, right? Well, these alarm bells that are going off inside of you for whatever reason, and we're going to cover a few today, I would suggest to you that it's just important to listen to what's going on inside of you and start making moves in a direction that are going to definitely make you feel better. And that's what today is going to be a focus on. So ask yourself, that's the first thing I would say. Ask yourself, what is really bothering you? I mean, really. And it's, the classic story of peeling the onion away, right? You got to peel away the layers and really get to what's really bothering you. That's important first. Forget about what other people think, what other people feel. What is it that's really bothering you? Is it your health? Well, the first thing I would say out of the gate about that is you can fix it. Know that that is true. In 35 years that I've been in the health and fitness industry, some of the most dramatic stories I've heard from stage 4 cancer patients, really, really sick and on death's door, and turning it around and feeling so much better and feeling so driven for the rest of their lives after they actually fully recovered, to actually be an inspiration to others, for those people to have said to me time and again essentially the same thing. It was a blessing that they got that sick. Imagine that, right? It's a hard thing for people to understand if they've never been in that situation. But to be that low in their health and to have to completely re-examine their entire life and fix what was going on and actually be able to achieve that was just obviously life-changing. And a lot of those people who I've spoken to have ended up being really big inspirations to so many other people. So at this point, in hindsight, would anyone in their right mind say that that's something that should have been avoided? Those people who went through those terrible situations don't even say that. Oh, gee, I wish I never had that. They're grateful for their sickness. So again, if you're worried about your health, I would just like to gently suggest stop worrying so much. Respect it for what it is. You're noticing something's going on. You feel like your immune system is compromised. You're very fearful of the virus. Okay, I get it. But let's kind of take out that fear and that worry, and now let's start putting things in action that we could focus on. Here's some suggestions for you. Number one, I would say to anyone, get a good integrative physician. Now, I know that's easier said than done, but that's my number one suggestion. Even if you're feeling great, oh, I don't need that. That's not important. I've got other things on my mind. Let me tell you something. Locate someone. Get in contact with that person. Make sure they're your go-to person. Because believe you me, when you're at your 11th hour or you're in a serious health crisis, that is not the time that you want to do a search for a good doctor. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, oh my God, something's going on with me now. I need a doctor. It's an extremely stressful, almost impossible task. So do it now. But even if you feel like you're a little worried or struggling now, by all means, make that change and get a good integrative doc. Have a good healthcare provider would be like a number 2 tip. So a healthcare advocate. Now, this may be, although I feel like from my experience, it's rarely have I seen this happen. It may be one and the same. Your integrative healthcare doctor is your health advocate. But most of the time, that's not really true. Like if they're a really, really dear, close friend of yours, God forbid you go into the hospital, they're going to be there putting their gloves on and they're going to do a little fighting for you and for what's best for you. But rarely is that the case. You get the combination. It's usually a spouse, a significant other in the family, but you've got to really have the maybe not so difficult, but you know what I mean, the difficult conversations about a wide variety of issues and make absolutely sure that that person is on the same page with you. Like you guys are in sync. Because God forbid you're out of commission. What are you going to do then? It's going to be a life-saving situation to have someone that you can really rely on that's going to be there for you when you can't even do your own bidding. So I hope that makes sense. Obviously, the whole meaning of this show is focus on your immune system. So important. This is the only thing. If you're concerned about your health, whether it's a virus, a chronic disease, it doesn't matter. Every top integrative healthcare provider that I've done shows with, and I've done hundreds and hundreds of programs over the years, they all pretty much say the same thing. Instead of being so fixated on my disease, what is wrong with me, they focus the patient's attention on improving the immune system function, it's absolutely at the top of the list. Get rid of toxic burdens, toxic relationship, toxic chemicals, toxic environmental issues, whatever it might be, a toxic work environment, whatever it might be, especially if you're very, very ill. That toxicity, the air, the water, the food, has got to be addressed. You cannot ignore it anymore. So it's removing toxicity, which actually, in and of itself, without any fancy detoxification program, without any fancy remedies or medical or health degrees from major universities, just identifying and getting away from a toxin can have such a healing benefit for you, just doing that one thing alone. So again, for everybody it's different, but you do have to start identifying where you might be a little lax with your toxic exposure and try to minimize it as much as you can. Vitamin C, without a doubt, very important antioxidant at about 3,000 milligrams per day. And of course, as I've often said, the sicker you are, generally speaking, much more in an amount per day is going to be needed. Vitamin D, it could be 1,000 to upwards to 10,000 international units per day. And I say it upwards in that 5 to 10,000 international units per day, especially for literally millions of people who, if they would simply get a blood test, you talk about all the testing that they're pushing with this inaccurate coronavirus test that gives you false positives up the wazoo. We should be testing everybody's vitamin D levels in their blood. A very inexpensive, simple blood test. And the lower your vitamin D, the lower your immune system function in general, and the more exposed you are to getting a viral infection that's going to hit you really bad. Keep in mind, if you've got good vitamin D, vitamin C levels, you're feeling great, your immune system's working well, and a virus does get in you, no match, folks. Please remember these points. The virus cannot survive. It cannot replicate in a healthy, strong body. Genuinely healthy and strong, not just what somebody says, right? And so vitamin D is a biggie, and it can simply be tested, don't guess. If you're below 30 nanograms per milliliter in your blood, below 30, which is a lot of people according to all the docs I've talked to, then you're deficient, and you should address this. Medicinal mushrooms, it's a biggie. Every single day I'm taking a dried powder version of all of these medicinal mushrooms, and it's great immune adaptogenic mushrooms. These are just great for your immune system function. It's just fuel that your immune system uses to stay healthy and strong. And look, all of us are going to be challenged with bacteria and viruses. What about the regular flu virus? It's out there killing, they say, conventionally speaking, 35 to 60,000 Americans every year. There was no full-on panic before. That gets me into a whole other topic. Let's forget that. But my point being, people are catching that virus from other people. It's in the air. People cough. People talk. People sneeze. People next to each other less than 6 feet. I mean, compromised immune systems, they get this. Now what? So the point is, your body needs these elements, and not enough people are being told what they are. The medicinal mushrooms are chaga and reishi, shiitake. These are great mushrooms to get into your body. Go look out for a good quality source, but get it into you. Sea vegetables, great to do as well. Most people, I'm talking about the average population out there, are mineral deficient. When you're young, no big deal. Like I've often said, you can get away with so much. But as you get older with these mineral deficiencies, the body can break down very easily, and it just doesn't function well. So we want to get sea vegetables into us. Nori is perhaps the most popular, and wakame. Nori are those toasted sheets that you can roll up, sushi rice and avocado, cucumber, sushi, fish, things like this get rolled up in it. But basically, the nori sheet is a sea vegetable. Nori is a seaweed. Wakame is the little floating seaweed that goes into like the Asian soups, like a miso soup. So wakame is great, kelp, arame, hiziki, the list goes on, right? But the biggies are the ones that I personally use: nori, wakame, kelp, and arame. These are ones that really provide you with a lot of minerals. You do not need to eat a lot of this. Just a small amount, and just make it a part of your day. It's great for your immune system. And these are the kind of things, you see, they don't get attention because when you do this stuff year after year after year, and you look back after 3, 5, 6 years, you kind of start realizing that's exactly what happened to me. I've been in this whole thing for about 35 years now. As you look back, you realize, you know what? People around me getting sick, they're complaining about health problems. I've had my little ups and downs, but it's been relatively calm. That's the same thing that you're going to notice as well as you start using these things more and more. You'll just kind of remember how last year you went through something, and this year it's relatively smooth. And so you won't have to have this full-on panic about everything that you'll hear in the news, because believe me, there's going to be other viruses and other problems, other pandemics that are absolutely coming, folks. This is just the beginning. And again, that's for another show. But you can mark my words, what's happened so far is just the tip of the iceberg. It's going to get far worse, unfortunately, before it gets better. And I want you to have this information now so you can navigate through this relatively smoothly. So obviously, clean water is really important, so important. Again, it's like, so easy to overlook. And I think therein is the problem. Being well hydrated. You hear it all the time. But yet so many people are dehydrated. They don't take water with them. They just don't do it. They don't drink. And there's a big difference between someone who says, oh yeah, I know intellectually, but the knowing I'm talking about is actually doing it. There's a huge difference between the two. And I'm not judging any of those people who are saying, yeah, I know this is important. But please remember, we're talking about what you need to protect yourself against viruses. It's not what you know in your head. It's what you actually do that matters. Okay, another thing, biggie, very simple. Don't overeat. Again, that's an easy thing to identify with, right? A lot of people are overeating and, of course, overeating the wrong thing. But even overeating really healthy organic food is still problematic in and of itself and does stress put a strain on the immune system. How would it do that? Eating too much food is stuffing up your gut. Now all the blood, all the attention, if you will, bodily activities, is in your gut digesting food, and it's diverted away from what you want it to do. You want your immune system, you want your blood circulation to be smooth and rapidly moving through your whole body in a nice balanced way, always on the lookout and more ready to pounce on bacterial or viral infections. Cancer cells, locate them as well. But if you're chronically overeating, not a good idea. You're constantly sending attention into your gut instead of where it should be, especially when it comes to immune system activity, somewhere else. So very important not to overeat. And that's why you hear a lot these days, especially on the internet, about intermittent fasting. Now, for people who are new to this, it sounds overwhelming, but it's really not that big a deal, right? Intermittent fasting could mean you had dinner at 7 o'clock at night and you don't have a break of fast You don't have another thing in food or drink until 7 o'clock the next day. That's 12 hours right there. Obviously, a lot of people are breaking that idea. They're eating 6, 7, or 8 at night. They're eating again at 10 at night, snacking in the middle of the day, middle of the night, drinking late at night, all of these things. This is not intermittent fasting, right? So when you get up to really good intermittent fasting, 12 hours like minimum, but more like 14, 15, 16 hours, and then in the rest of the time, maybe once or twice you're having significant meals and your beverages and everything inside the rest of that time, say about an 8-hour window. So you're looking at 14, 15, 16 hours of pretty much staying away from food and letting your body just do its magic, and then focusing in on that final 8 hours of a 24-hour day, where that's where you're consuming super high quality food, right? That isn't necessarily super high in calories, enough that you need in terms of energy from food, but really high in nutrition. When you're doing that, your body has a much better chance of running really well. Obviously, another simple tip, which is not easy to do, but it is simple, is chew your food more. Just simply whatever food you eat, chew it up really well. This is going to dramatically improve your health and your confidence in how you can deal with future bacterial or viral infections. Be less sensitive. Kind of a non-food thing, and certainly I think something that is very much needed these days. Way too many people are way too sensitive about way too many things. So practice. Try being less sensitive about stuff in general, right? You know the old phrase, what is it, like don't sweat the small stuff, that kind of a thing? Stop personalizing everything as well. We've talked a lot about that yesterday in particular on my Natural Health 365 broadcast about not getting so angry over so many things and feeling like you get triggered all the time. Somebody says something. Somebody does something. We personalize it. How could they do that to me? It's too much. It's not good for your immune system. It's not good for your whole life. So stop personalizing everything. Laugh a little bit more. You watch kids play, they laugh, they're doing it so much during the day. Adults, we're serious, we frown. It's funny, they say that smiling takes less muscles in the face than it does to frown. So laughing more, watch a funny movie, whatever it takes for you. Just find humor more in things is a very, very good thing for your immune system. And of course, coupled with that, my last point for health issues that you might be concerned about, avoid negative thinking. That doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. You are going to have negative thoughts, okay? Let's get over it. When you do, catch it as fast as you can and get away. Like it's just something ugly that you don't want to be a part of anymore. Spin it in a more positive way. Okay, I hear you, but you know what? Talk to yourself. Time to go this way in a more positive direction. That is a much better way to go for protecting your health for anything that you might have to face in the future. You might as well practice now. So financial problems, we'll go through these real quick. I'm not pretending to be a financial advisor here, but be creative. Obviously, people losing their jobs, I get it. Concerned about their positions now, their businesses now going forward. So important to turn on creative juices, right? Start your own business of your own kind with somebody else. Partner up with someone. Obviously, that's a whole lot easier said than done. I'm not suggesting you just run in with anybody, because if you run in to something like that with the wrong person, that could bring a whole lot more stress into your life. And I've certainly been through that in my lifetime. But the idea here is to be creative, right? Solve problems for others. Financial troubles usually get fixed by just simply focusing on not you, but how can you help somebody with their problems? The more you do that, the more good financial stuff will come your way. I hope that makes sense. And as another side little thing, which I've certainly seen on social media with some well-known figures, and I also know personally it works, is this idea of flipping, right? I'm talking directly to a person right out there right now who needs, I don't know, $300, $400, $600 a week. It could be life-changing, right? You know exactly what I'm saying. Going to a garage sale, going to a dollar store, finding something inexpensive and then putting it up on eBay or something like this. It's just a way that if there's a financial issue that's causing a lot of stress and you just need more money, there is always a way, and I've heard this from others who are successfully doing this. So, I don't know, why not just copy something that's worked that other people are doing successfully? That's all I'm suggesting. If you're depressed, right? We talked a little bit about this, very much related to my last broadcast, my Natural Health 365 live broadcast yesterday on Monday with anger. But if you're depressed, obviously it's you, right? Me. Like focusing inward towards just you maybe is going to end up being, may I suggest, really problematic. So connect with others. Stop talking about your problem. Now, I'm not trying to come across cold, but if you're somebody, and I'm certainly thinking of quite a few people I wish I didn't know like this, but I'm thinking of quite a few people myself, and I'm sure you do as well, who really focus on talking about their problems like all the time. How is someone like that ever going to feel better? All they do is they literally identify themselves to all their problems and want to share it with the world, with anybody who would listen. So we got to stop talking about our own problems. That's a good step in the right direction. Do not isolate yourself. I've been chatting quite a bit in social media with several people who've been saying the lockdowns, the stay-at-home orders, the 6 feet apart and more is really starting to get to them. I'm telling you, folks, more than a virus, right? For most people out there with reasonably good immune systems, the response is more sickening. And you know exactly what I mean. The response to this whole thing by most people staying away from so many people, being in fear of human beings, that's killing a lot of people. I mean, I'm literally hearing it before something more catastrophic happens. That's why I'm so concerned about it and doing a little video here today talking about it in front of you today. A lot of people are sounding very, very bad. And no, they don't have heart attack, God forbid, or a cancer diagnosis or autoimmune disorder because of their depression, but they feel so isolated. It's really important that you start connecting with people, and not just anybody, right? Because obviously if you connect with somebody else who feels just like you do, oh boy, now you're going to start talking about how you both feel isolated, you both feel depressed. Yeah, I totally get it. And you spend an hour just talking about that. That's really bad. Connect with someone who's super positive. Try to stretch out in social media and find those positive places, those forums, those social media places, the community we're trying to develop here where people are not throwing up on each other. I might respectfully disagree with you, but I respect you for who you are, and I would never want to throw up on you with, oh, you're this, you're that, and talk all negative. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. But find these people closest to you where you can just feel that more support, because feeling alone is a very, very dangerous feeling. And if that's left ignored for too long, you can literally get physically very sick. So change it up. My main point at the end is take action, right? Especially when depressed. If you're sitting by yourself thinking about what's bothering you, or you're worried, or you're fearful, or you're panicking, and it's a very mental thing, you got to stop. You have to start taking action. Think about what's really upsetting you, as I said at the beginning. Make a little plan and start taking action. And work the plan. As I said a lot with athletes I used to train. Get off this idea that you have to be perfect. If whatever you're doing is not working for you in 1, 2, 3 weeks, then dump the plan and make a new plan. But if the plan is working for you and you're feeling better, keep working that plan, and it'll take you to where you'd like to go. I hope that makes sense. Security concerns. I spoke to a lot of people about that real quick. I'm not going to pretend to be one of these expert preppers, but I can tell you on a personal level, I have been doing quite a few things to make some moves that I've been lax with in terms of security. If you're very concerned and you're in a big city, what can I tell you? Move out. As soon as you practically can, move out of a big city, because those are more danger zones. There's no doubt about it. In general, generally speaking, even if you're in the big city, avoid very bad, dangerous situations. Protests, marches, right? Oh, it's fine. You want to join in. But the point is, God forbid something goes down and you're in that big crowd, you could get hurt. So if you have security concerns, the top security experts in the world all pretty much sound the same about this. They're not Rambo jumping out of helicopters with a knife in their hand and tremendous physical skills, and they know how to handle themselves. Every one of them says the same thing. If at all possible, avoid dangerous situations. It's that simple. So that's a security concern. Move out if you can. If you can't, beef up security. We're talking about things like the deadbolts, the doors, the screens, right? Metal that you might have to do. I mean, depending on how bad a neighborhood you're in front of your windows. But securing all of this up with better security, alarm systems, things like this, might have to be something that you need to do for sure. Study martial arts. This might be something that you could take up now with even somebody that you know who feels the same way you do. And now all of a sudden, you start to get involved in some form of martial arts for self-defense. Might not be a bad idea, and it'll improve your confidence. It'll make you feel better, and all of this is going to have a great impact on your immune system. And of course, another one I'm going to throw out to you is getting firearms training. Now, again, everybody lives in different situations. I'm down here in Florida, very different situation from where I left in New York. In New York, it's like, oh, you can't do anything. You can just have a gun in the house, in your apartment, wherever you live, and it's crazy. The laws are, even if someone breaches your door, you're supposed to retreat back to a bedroom. You can't even defend yourself, stand your ground and defend yourself there, or else you might be liable. It gets really crazy. But depending on where you live, then perhaps maybe the best choice you have is to also get some firearms training for self-defense. That's it. So we talked about the upgrading of the home security. That's another thing as well that is really important for a lot of people, I think. Number 5, improving relationships. Really big. This might be your biggest issues right now, right? I would suggest a few simple things. Stop fighting, right? Take action, right? The action would not be to continually fight over the same things over and over and over again. You want to improve your relationships? Just stop fighting. Step 1. Pay attention to what you're saying. Are you insulting? Are you trying to put the other person down? If you are, I don't know how you're going to improve the situation. I don't know how the relationship will ever get better if all you're doing is fighting with each other and screaming and yelling things that nobody wants to hear anyway. So be very careful about what you're saying and how you're saying it. Listen better. It's been a big thing for me for as long as I can remember. Try to listen better. It's a great thing to challenge yourself with. Help others. Huge. You want to improve a relationship? Just help somebody, especially the person you want to get better with. That person's got to do for me, and then things will be better. Don't look outside. Just look at yourself. Say, how can I help that person? And watch how the relationship gets better. And I've often said this about somebody I had a 9-year business relationship with. At the beginning, many years, I was butting heads and it was horrific. And I realized he had a lot of insecurity that I was going to leave him and work somewhere else. And I realized all I had to do, because I was fine with him, was actually show him more that I was there to help his kids when I was doing all the coaching and athletic training that I did. Once I did that, and once it settled in and it got through to his brain, he felt so much better, and then everything got better between us. We became really, really good friends. It took years, folks, but every step along the way, I could see where this was really helpful. Express your gratitude. Actually say to someone, oh, no, I love you. You know, that person knows. I appreciate you. They know already. They know how I feel. No. You want to improve the relationship? Say it. Actually say something positive and express yourself to that other person. Watch how fast things change. Okay, so that's it for today. Quick question. Really serious, right? Not too serious. What is your greatest stress? Physical health issues? Money? Relationship problem? Or is it an other where you could just tell us? Let us know in the comment section below. And just as a reminder, the Natural Health 365 live broadcast that you're watching right here is every single day, Monday to Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. We do another show just like this, really focused on helping you to improve your immune system function so you feel strong and healthy. This is what's going to ultimately protect your health the best. I hope you found some of these tips helpful. And please, 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 as I often say, share to help us get this message out to more people. The more you tag somebody else, the more you make your comments down below, the more you're sharing this program with other people. It really helps us in the social media world to get this message out to more people. So anything you can do in terms of sharing or tagging this show with other people you know in our social media circles, especially in Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, please do that. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Take care, everybody.